The PlayStation 3 has one of the best libraries of RPGs ever, whether it be JRPGs to Western RPGs, it's all on the PS3. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the top 15 PS3 RPGs of all time. One thing to note is that only one game of a series will be represented on this list. With that being said, let's get right into this with number 15. Number 15, South Park: The Stick of Truth. When an announcement came of Ubisoft creating a South Park RPG, most thought it would be typical licensed trash, but in reality, it was a very good RPG. And if you're a South Park fan, the game is an almost identical recreation of the television show from the art style, the music, the humor, it's all there, and it all adds to a great game for South Park fans or people that just want a lighthearted RPG. Number 14, Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. There's a sad story attached to Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. The game actually performed so poorly as far as sales go that it made the developers 38 Studios go defunct. It's even more unfortunate due to the fact that Kingdoms of Amalur is a fantastic game. It's got a gigantic world to explore, and possibly the best thing about the game is the awesome combat style. It's real time and plays similarly to a game like God of War, Devil May Cry, in that it's incredibly stylish. Sure, the story and writing wasn't the best, but as far as pure fun goes, Kingdoms of Amalur is up there with the best of them. Number 13, NIER. Another extremely underrated PS3 RPG was NIER by Square Enix. The game has a beautiful art style with one of the best soundtracks you'll ever hear from a game. The story felt compelling even if it was a bit hard to understand at times. The gameplay was standard, nothing exceptional, but it works. The strength of NIER is its presentation with the visuals, the audio. NIER absolutely nails all of that, which is why it's so exciting that a follow-up title, NIER Automata, is in development by Platinum Games. While you wait for that, give the 2010 game a look, it might surprise you. Number 12, Star Ocean: The Last Hope. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Star Ocean: The Last Hope did have quite a bit of issues. The most notable being the absolutely horrendous voice acting, and that's made even worse by the fact that some of the cutscenes in the game are very long. We're talking north of a half an hour. The story also had some issues with its pacing. However, what Star Ocean: The Last Hope excels at is its gameplay. The game has one of the best combat systems in a JRPG. It's fast-paced, flashy, and the battle music helps as well. The graphics are also very good considering the hardware and all the different locations in the game are varied and unique. If you're a fan of JRPGs, definitely give The Last Hope a look. Number 11, Final Fantasy XIII. I know some of you might crucify me for even mentioning Final Fantasy XIII on this list. It's a very love or hate kind of a game. Some people really like the game while others think it's by far the worst Final Fantasy game. The issue with Final Fantasy XIII is that it's a starkly different game from the previous ones. The game is very linear, there's not a lot of exploration or side quests until very later on in the game. However, even with all of that, there is a good game in FF13. If you go into playing the game with an open mind, you'll find an interesting combat system, a great story that, yes, it does get a bit hard to follow at times, great music, and some amazing visuals. Yes, Final Fantasy XIII is very different than some of the favorites in the series. That doesn't make it a terrible game, though. It is a well-made game. Now, that might not hold true for 13-2 or Lightning Returns, but the first game in the trilogy is a pretty damn good game. Number 10, Eternal Sonata. Eternal Sonata is one of the great JRPGs that many people don't know about. The game was originally released on the Xbox 360 in 2007, then brought out on the PlayStation 3 a year later. It takes the archaic turn-based combat system and freshens it up a bit and makes it a bit modern, so to speak, considering it's been a while since the game was initially released. The game has great music and a cast of interesting and well-developed characters that engage you into the story. It should be mentioned that Eternal Sonata, like Final Fantasy XIII, is also fairly linear, but that shouldn't scare you away. It's a great JRPG. Number 9, Fallout 3. Some may be shocked that Fallout 3 did not rank higher in this list. Don't get me wrong, Bethesda created an amazing open-world RPG with Fallout 3. The world was highly immersive, the game was packed with content, and the story was engaging. However, the game, just like every Bethesda open-world game, is riddled with bugs, and that was especially the case on the PlayStation 3. Still, at this point, most of you know what's great about Fallout 3, but for those of you that don't, what are you doing? Go play the game immediately, and then you can jump into Fallout 4 on the PS4. Number 8, Borderlands 2. Borderlands was one of the standout new IPs in the PlayStation 3's lifecycle. Creating a first-person shooter that was on point in terms of gameplay but having the content of an RPG seems like a daunting task. But that's exactly what Gearbox accomplished with Borderlands, and in the sequel, it was just made a better game. Borderlands 2 included more guns, a better story, and even better gameplay. Obviously, the strengths of the game shine even more when you're playing with a full 4-player party, but even as a single-player game, it's still pretty damn fun. Shooting and looting doesn't get much better than what Borderlands 2 offers. Number 7, Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age has been around for a while now, but the first game is still far and away the best of the series. The game is set in a dark fantasy world that's inspired by the likes of Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. The game is going to take you a lot of time if you want to do everything. We're talking north of 100 hours. The game's story is very fleshed out and there's a lot of details that really brings the world to life. It's BioWare norm, it's very engaging and there's a lot of decisions to make and thought in what you do in the game. The music should also be commended as it complements the world very much. The gameplay will take a bit of getting used to and some of the controls aren't the best, but you'll get accustomed to it pretty quickly. BioWare has an amazing track record for their RPGs and Dragon Age Origins falls in line. Number 6, The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Skyrim is another open-world RPG by Bethesda just like Fallout 3, so you can probably see where this is going. The game's world building, gameplay, and content are at an extremely high level. If you're into fantasy settings, you'll absolutely love the world and lore of Skyrim. However, Skyrim suffers the same fate as Fallout 3 in that the game is riddled with bugs, and again, that is especially the case on the PlayStation 3. When the game launched, there were issues with frame rates, pop-in, glitches, and worst of all, people's saves being deleted. Over time, the game has gotten better through patches and updates, however, it's still far from perfect. If you can get past the bugs, there's a fantastic game in Skyrim with a fantastic world, great music, content, and so much more. Like Fallout 3, most of you have probably played Skyrim, but if you haven't, definitely go out and get it. Number 5, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Deus Ex made its long-awaited comeback in 2011, and while the game was created to cater to more of a console audience, that doesn't change the fact that Human Revolution is a terrific game. The cyberpunk setting is awesome, the world, while it's definitely not as big as an open-world RPG, there is a lot of exploration and areas are pretty fleshed out. The story and writing particularly were very good and you'll find yourself attached to the characters. The gameplay was also excellent with there being a lot of variety in that you can tackle the game how you want to. Do you want to just go run and gun or do you want to hack through doors and take a more silent approach? It's all up to the player and that makes Deus Ex Human Revolution a blast and have a ton of replay value. It's a great game, play it and then get excited about Deus Ex Mankind Divided that's set to release August of this year. Number 4, Valkyria Chronicles. Sega's Valkyria Chronicles was one of the most unique RPGs on the PlayStation 3. The game is told via the usage of a storybook that pieces the story together with cutscenes, audio clips, and the core of the game's strategy-based battles. The gameplay works well and puts you in a very strategic position in that you need to pick what kind of units you want to use, how far you want them to be from each other. It's very tactical and requires some thought. The obvious that you'll notice about Valkyria Chronicles is the gorgeous watercolor art style. The game looks absolutely fantastic. The story also has a lot of twists and turns and it'll keep you hooked until the very end. Valkyria Chronicles was another game that didn't garner the most sales when it was released, but over the years it has gained a cult following, and if you're a fan of strategy RPGs, this is a must play. Number 3, Demon's Souls. The Souls phenomenon began exclusively on PlayStation 3 with Demon's Souls. People didn't really know what to expect. A game that was being promoted heavily based on its difficulty seemed like a game that would only gain a niche following. Oh, how we were wrong. Demon's Souls offered fans an extremely challenging but highly rewarding experience. With an atmospheric world, amazing music, and jaw-dropping boss fights, Demon's Souls was one of the surprise hits on PlayStation 3, and since then, we've seen the release of 2 Dark Souls games as well as Bloodborne, and a 3rd Dark Souls game is coming. Yeah, From Software created a winner with their first Souls game. Number 2, Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. Far and away the best JRPG on the PlayStation 3 was Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. Immediately you'll notice the incredible art style that Level 5 created with the help of Studio Ghibli. Not only that, you'll get a storyline that will keep you emotionally invested in the characters, which for a story-driven RPG should be the primary goal. The gameplay, the music, everything in Ni no Kuni was crafted with extreme care, and now that we know that there will in fact be a sequel on the PlayStation 4, it wouldn't be a bad idea to play the first game. Ni no Kuni is an excellent game and it rivals the best JRPGs ever. And finally, number 1, Mass Effect 2. BioWare has created some of the best RPGs of all time, but it seems that Mass Effect is their most popular creation. The first Mass Effect game had some issues with its gameplay, the 3rd game obviously received criticism for its ending, but the 2nd game was as close as you could get to a perfect RPG. Flawless third-person gameplay, a very well-paced story, a cast of diverse and likable characters loaded with content, which is especially the case for the PlayStation 3 version as it includes all of the DLC as well. Mass Effect 2 is a tremendous game and I would recommend to play the whole trilogy, but if I was limited to one game, it doesn't get much better than Mass Effect 2. So that wraps up this countdown. Let us know, do you agree with our list? Do you think a game is ranked too high, too low, or did we completely forget about a game? Let us know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching and goodbye.